Every morning across Africa, millions of women wake up before dawn. They set up their stands, prepare their food, and become the heartbeat of our cities, food ecosystems. They are our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties, the street vendors who have fed generations. But what if I told you that these same street vendors, often seen as just traditional marketing women, are about to become a vital part of Africa's digital revolution? What if I told you that someone is transforming their centuries old trade into a tech powered enterprise of the future? I'm Daniel Manto, your host, and today on Entrepreneurship Exposed, we are doing something different. We're going to witness what happens when corporate excellence meets street wisdom, when tradition meets technology, and when a granddaughter decides to revolutionize her grandmother's legacy. Hey, 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 beautiful people. Welcome back to Entrepreneurship Exposed. I'm your host, Daniel Manto, and today's episode is going to blow your mind. You know those moments when you see someone take something ordinary and transform it into something I'll call extraordinary? Well, that's exactly what our guest today is doing. Imagine taking the traditional street food vendors we all know and love in Africa and giving them the power of technology to transform their businesses. This sounds amazing, right? But this isn't just about any tech story you've ever heard. This is a story about honoring our roots while building the future. And let me tell you, as someone who knows how vital street vendors are to our community, this makes my heart sing. Before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome to our family. And if you're returning, thank you for being absolutely incredible. Don't forget to give us those 5 stars, leave us a review, and share this episode with someone who needs some inspiration. Now, let me introduce you to someone remarkable, Olga Yanda. She started her journey in the corporate world, spending 15 years in finance and digital transformation. But in her heart, she carried a powerful legacy. She's a proud granddaughter of a street vendor. That heritage inspired her to create something revolutionary. WaziEats, a digital platform that's changing the game of informal food vendors across. And when I say changing the game, I mean it. It's just a short time, Olga has generated over 20 million francs CFA in revenue for her partners, delivered more than 10,000 made in Cameroon meals, and trained hundreds of informal vendors to embrace the digital age. As someone who believes in the power of innovation to transform lives, seeing Olga combine her corporate expertise with her passion for empowering street vendors is just incredible for me. All right, beautiful people, get ready for a conversation that will change how you think about technology, tradition, and the power of remembering your roots. Olga, welcome to the show. I'm thrilled to have you here today.
Hello, Daniela. Thank you so much for that introduction, for inviting me. First of all, I was very honored. I'm very honored, and thank you for introducing my profile. When you were mentioning and describing me, I was thinking, who is that Olga Yanda? Because that you've discussed, I would like to know. Good job on the branding. Well done, Danielle. But thank you for
You're
the
welcome.
and the compliments. I would say it's nothing. It's something natural. It really comes from within. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And I was while also looking for purpose. You know how you want to give purpose to your life. Yes, it's true. I was working in a corporate environment, especially the banking sector.
Yeah, yeah.
But then you don't have purpose when you do that. You do that for a living. So I decided to come back to Cameroon after COVID, and then I started building let's say, a better world for ourselves.
Yeah. As I know you, like, we met personally. No,
Yeah,
but let's just start the conversation.
that's true. It's
Well,
true.
Olga, well, again, thank you so much for joining us. To kick things off, can you just go ahead and tell us who is Olga Yanda? And we'd love to hear about your background and what shaped you into the visionary, into the
I will start by saying that I am a mom. And I will say sorry because people often say that I don't have a storytelling, but this is my story. It comes from being a mom and it's my priority. And that's how I will come up with always like innovation and idea that will take care and nurture for people. And it's very important to understand where I come from. So I come from that space where it's being a mom that it's rewarding to me, although my children are growing, so they need less and less me, unless it's for me to drive them somewhere or give them money. So, but that's my story really. And as I said, I was just working in the financial sector, looking after investments. Actually, I come from that background, and also overseeing digital transformation projects. After COVID, things changed, and as I said, I decided to come back to Cameroon. First of all, to look after some family matters, and then I saw what is there something that I can do. There's something that I must do that will bring purpose. And then back to the family house. That's where I met again with the informal vendors down the road. And then that the food that I eat anywhere, I eat beignet, I eat, food off the street all the time. I think we all do in Africa. And I thought, no. Some odd years, much later after my grandmother did that because it was some time ago. I think that things have not changed for them, right? They're still struggling. I see them running around early in the morning, getting supplies, and then they have to change the menus all the time. Then they depend so much on prices, on the market, availability of products. It depends on whether, if it's raining, it's not going to be a good day. And they have so many pressing issues. I saw that no one is really looking at, knowing that they are at the backbone of the economy, but there's no solution for them. So they will keep doing it like my grandmother used to do. And they will keep, suffering from the same problematic. So that was my initial thought. And then to come back to my background is really giving purpose to life. For me, I'm just so pleased that I'm doing what I do because I feel like I'm doing something valuable, as opposed to working in services where you have a job of, okay, you make a living, because being an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily make good living. So you make a living, yeah, it's fine. But at the end of the day, we are all here for a reason.
yeah, that's so powerful. Like you said, we entrepreneur we make a living, but we don't
We
always
don't make
necessarily
it
make a
like,
living.
I
I can
keep
relate
saying
with you. We're too
entrepreneurship is
busy.
not what people think. It's not what people think, and it's not what I used to think. I used to think that after a year or two, you build your products,
Oh
and then
yeah,
after a year or two, you start making a lot of money. It's really not what we
exactly.
really
Like,
think.
yeah, so your story really fascinates me, a story of purpose. You want to live your purpose.
Mm.
And like I said, your story really fascinates me, especially how you connected your corporate experience with your family's street vending heritage. So can you take us back to the moment when you realized you needed to create WaziEats?
Yeah, yeah. It was a slow process. I wanted to build something, and I wanted to use technology. As I said, I was overseeing digital projects, so I wanted to embark some of that. Of course, I first wanted to start with maybe doing some consultancy, accounting job. So I initially thought we build an app. Do you know the Data Protection Act that just passed last year at the end of
Yeah.
the year? I was working on a project for building an app for that. But then it felt the same, like it's a service, no, I don't discredit the industry at all. But it felt like the same, like you're going to provide a service, but I was missing the social impact. So while I was renovating the family home, so as I said, we were just back, we were in Daido. And then you have a lot of street vendors, and then we buy, at lunchtime, we buy from them because we didn't have a kitchen or anything. So we just buy from them. And then I've started observing them and thinking, I think there's something to do around the challenges that they face every day when it comes to the supply. So that's the first point of the supply and distribution. Because unless you walk by or you get to know them, by word of the mouth, they won't be able to sell meat to you, meaning that they can have losses by end of the day. They have a short term, short time kind of time life type of product. So it has to be sold by the day. There's no conservation. There's no next day, meaning that it means that they have to limit their production or make sure that they do everything, to sell by the day. So they have a lot of issues. But they are gifted. Most of them are gifted for, especially in the food, they have talents for culinary retail talents. And then they have this extremely good food, it's almost an art. So it was just, what can I do for that? And also to honor my legacy, to give a shout and also to honor my grandma's memory and legacy. So it's as much as a personal project than one with impact, than one that is meant to be also profitable. So it's a combination of all of that. But the most important for us is to make a social impact after looking at it being a very successful business.
Yeah. So that's quite amazing. I love the fact that you didn't just want to have a job, but you wanted to make that social impact. You saw that in your job, something is missing, the social impact. And I'm very sure your grandma should be very proud wherever she is. So,
So let's hope so.
yeah, so and just to mention that a lot of people, right, workers, they feed themselves on those women selling food, those local vendors, food vendors. So now I really love how WaziEat is bridging the digital divide for the street vendors. And you mentioned in one of your posts that up to 24% of the African urban population informal vendors who lack a proper marketplace. How exactly does WaziEat solve this problem, and what has been the vendors' reaction to going digital?
Yes, for me, it's just allowing the individual or informal vendors, whether they're street vendors, but not only you have the chef, the one cooking at home, they are not always on the street. They might be cooking at home, selling online. It could be chef, just or the chef, for who are looking for events, to cater to. It could be any type of food artist. It's not only for the street vendors. It's open. And also we include the smallholder farmers, which are very important. At the base of our system, there's the farmers. They are facing the same issue. They don't have a market to go to, so it's like they will sell locally. And if you are not local to them, you cannot access the raw materials and fresh products. And it happens, I don't know if it's the same situation back to your village, but when you go back to the village, there's so much waste. There's so much waste because there's no customer for the amount of harvest and food available. So now it's about finding them a client, customers for that food. So the marketplace is digital, first of all. It's very important because to leverage on the power of e-commerce and digitalization. So we built some tools very dedicated to the informal sector. When I say informal, I mean very informal. We are all informal to some extent. I mean the one who really do not have access to technology. So we made sure that we build products accessible to them. It could be that they might be illiterate sometimes, or we might not have a high level of education, but they still need to be able to access some technologies. So what it is really a combination of digital solutions to allow them to be online in a way, right? So we facilitate that. So you no longer have to be a passerby in order to, let's say, there's been or something to be able to consume food. You don't have to be local to the food store. Right now, we are delivering, let's say, food from Daido. We can deliver it to Japoma, So let's say geography is no longer an issue thanks to the platforms, which was the aim. So the aim is really to support the informal vendor revenue and growth.
That's such interesting. Just to we can say that most of these vendors, some of them, they are like you said, they don't want to use the digital technology, but you found a
Yeah,
problem and you detected a problem.
mention challenge. There's a challenge because someone who's been operating without technology is like, oh, we have digital platform that I don't need it. I
And I
don't have
like the
time.
fact that
But
you're also, like for this
yes,
women in agriculture, you're also
yes, definitely.
focusing. Very interesting, yeah. So now let's talk about impact. In just short time, you have generated over
Mm.
20 million first year for your partners and delivered more than 10,000 meals. That's quite impressive. Congratulations about
Thank
that.
you. Thank you so much. It's impressive. You know how when you are a high achiever and you want to achieve this, like, oh, we should have done better. We should have done better and we could have, but it's true that the first year you try and find your right balance. So this year we definitely need to do more. And also impact is not financial. The financial really is something, it's just that we need to know, we need to evaluate your impact. So that's why the financials are there for, but that's not how we look at it. On a daily basis, we look at how our support was effective for them. So we also do surveys and we need to find out that was it supportive? So did that extra revenue allow you to sign up your children to school or maybe to improve your living or maybe to acquire a land or restaurant for you to grow? So the impact for us is really in terms of the impact we made to lives, to your life and extended, family lives also. So that's how we measure impact. So yes, it's very good to have good traction in revenue. We all want that, but it's not how we measure impact.
Yeah, I like that because at the end of it, you want to put food on the table. You want to
Mm.
see that life is improving, the business is growing. So
Oh,
now can you just share? I'm sure there are so many stories about how vendors, maybe stories about how their lives were being improved, right? So can you just share a story about one vendor whose life has been transformed completely through
yes, the
WaziEats?
video I will be able to share with you later is one of I think the first partner was with Cousin Partners. And then remember how she came to us pregnant. So you know how you want to make a living, especially in that situation. And then you have a child on your way. So she's explained that when she started by herself, it was really complicated. So sometimes she just had to stop because there was no point cooking without customers. And then once we stepped in, then she saw a definite improvement, to her sales, and then it really assists her to grow that child, which is about a year and a half now. And we really made a direct impact, and she gave a testimony, and we have that all the time. We have that type of stories all the time. So it's important. That's what keeps you going because sometimes it's very hard, it's challenging, it's difficult. And you just have to have like, well, thank you so much for the day. And then thank you for doing that. And then it comes up to carry on and carry on and push again.
I'm sure that's where the real joy comes from.
Yeah,
Like you said, you want to achieve your purpose, you're on a mission and you want to see that you're fulfilling
yeah, yeah,
what you're going to do. You're feeling fulfilled after
yeah.
serving these women and they are
Very
happy,
important.
the
For me, it's
impact
very
is,
important to couple both. You have your financial, let's say, objectives, but you can couple it with some philanthropy. And for me, business doesn't go against it. It's not like if I do business, so I don't look at how to elevate people around you. I think you can do both successfully. So that's my inner beliefs.
thank you so, so much. Well, you're not just helping vendors sell, you're creating an entire ecosystem with training, food safety standards and connections to suppliers. Maybe can you just tell us uh, how you develop this holistic, because it's kind of a holistic approach, and why was it so important to go just
Mm.
or just creating a digital marketplace?
Yeah. The first element, despite, what we call market research, when you start those type of products, you don't really know, what they need. So we remember starting, today we're at a different stage than we were, let's say, last year, because we're only a year old, really, a year, in a couple of weeks. So we are quite young and learning. But we started with assumptions about what the needs of our community will be. And then throughout the year we've built because with feedback and, close relationship with them. So we build. So the products has to fit their needs. And then it's not only a marketplace also when you come and you get customers or you connect with smallholder farmers for your supply. It's not only that. It's a full support system where you get, first of all, trained because as we said, informal vendors might not have access to education. So we allow them to receive, let's say, a formal training on food safety. So it's a training that is recognized. Also, that it's a certification that they can show, and it's something that they take for themselves. So it's a condition to enter the platform, but it's a certificate that they can use also elsewhere to just show that they follow some rules. They can follow certain rules that are really useful and required in the food industry. So that is first support that they get. Also, the marketplace is there to assist them to thrive. So they also have access to financing that I didn't mention. So there's a small working capital advance we can make. So you don't necessarily need to have cash to get started. You can get started with that cash, and the more you are selling, the more we will recover from the loan. So it's just making sure that you have everything that you need to operate without challenges. We all have too many challenges, so we are taking the burden away for them. They have enough on their plate. And then finally, the logistics, which is the same. Some vendors, they have customers, but they don't have way to reach out to them. So we ensure that the end-to-end logistics for the supply or for the sales also. And then finally, of course, the marketplace. So this is where they do the showcasing. They show the products and where the final consumer can really buy the end products.
That should be so much undertaking.
Well,
So now you're talking about explaining all this. This gets me to think about the startup journey. It's always never smooth.
yeah,
It's not
no,
smooth sailing at the startup journey.
no.
You remember this competition? So you've been recognized by the Global Startup Awards and you won the Rev Up for Women competition. I think that was in 2023, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
end of 2023, more than a year ago.
Yeah. So you've been recognized by the Global Startup Awards and won the Rev Up for Women competition. But I'm sure there were challenges along the way. And I was also in this competition, but I was very
Yes.
happy at the end when I
Thank
realized that you
you.
were because
Thank you so much.
although I wanted to win as much as you,
We, no, no.
um, when I was very excited and I just celebrated you and I said, yeah, it's she
It was
deserved.
great.
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
it was
It was good. It was such a good experience. And it's to see how we got so many relationships out of it. So it would be hard to say,
yeah,
it would be fair to say I
and
didn't
we
come
are
out for the
today.
money. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Yes.
yeah, and here we are today. So
Yeah, you
I
see?
am so now I'm sure there were so many challenges along the way. So can you share with us a moment when things got tough and how you pushed through?
Yes. Throughout the journey, entrepreneurial journey in general.
Yeah, entrepreneurial
Or you want to
journey.
discuss that competition in particular?
Yes, entrepreneurial journey, startup, and then the
Entrepreneurial.
competition. Yeah, I think
Okay.
you're doing quite a lot. So maybe just share experience with us.
I have, I think I have a lot to say, and you know me, I'm transparent. I like to share. It's important to share. I'm one of the few, not one of the few, but I would say, what's up. I have that energy. I have enough strength and resilience to say when something is not working, when something is working also, so we can improve, so we can move out from there. If it's good, let's see how we can do better. If it's not good, let's see how we can improve. That's more my mind. That's how my mind is set. So entrepreneurial journey, honestly, is way too challenging. Some people approach me because they want to start, and I'm like, please don't do it. I'm not trying to discourage you, but I think you have many ways to impact, others, make impacts or or build. I think building a startup is not only the right way, you have to be ready for it. Luckily, when it comes to me, I have enough strength and resilience, but sometimes I feel like it's too challenging. Maybe it's time to go back to employment. So you make for money, but then you lose your purpose right away. So it really takes a kind. For me, not everyone is meant to be a startup entrepreneur. When I say that, it could also be the case for me. I'm still exploring. Am I in the right place right now? I'm still exploring it. I think that, but it's a question that you should ask yourself all the time. When it comes to the entrepreneurial journey, the first issue is access to resources. That's why we went for that competition to get a little bit of money, because everything that you do will require money. So when you are building, especially digital solutions, you need some proper access to resources, financial resources. And then when you are lacking it, it's really putting you on hold. It's really holding you up. That's why we're saying that we are great about the achievements of 2024, but we know that with more means we could have done so much more, but then lack of funding, lack of financial resources. So you have to do what you can when it comes to that. So I think the first hurdle, and the second hurdle is not only money, because you could have money and still not being set, make life easier, definitely. But then for me, particularly for us, is access to human capital. It is key, so you could have the money and not have the right resources, and then you will fail. So for me, I feel like I've failed, but then luckily, with sharing with my fellow entrepreneurs, I realized that we are all kind of more or less facing the same problematic, where it's very difficult to find people to work with, especially on challenging projects that requires, look at my eyes. When I look at it, it requires you to make some real input to your time, your expertise, your skills. It's complicated to find resources to work with. For me, it's been the biggest challenge, is finding people to work with and access to capital. So that's why when coming back to those competitions, because I've entered a couple now. I've entered a couple of competition programs and pitch accelerators. So I really did the most of it. And the conclusion is that they said that they are empowering us women-led businesses, as you know, because there's such a divide gap happening. So we get less opportunities, less money, less partnerships, less everything. And it's true. But then those organizations, they are doing the job, but they are not able to bridge the gaps. It's something that is quite systemic. So me, I first relied on those organizations, and then I realized that's not the job. They are not going to bridge the gap. So we are lacking proper support as women-led businesses. And then I realized that I don't need someone else to come and empower me. I have powers within. We have the superpowers within. So now I explore them. I don't rely on an organization to come and empower me, because they can't. It's not something that is easy to do. And it has to come from within us. The initiative that you are doing right now is empowering. You know what I mean? So it has to come from us, our own. And that's how we are going to come through. But it's been very complicated also to be a woman in this game, and also to rely on supporting partners and organizations. And then at the end of the day, you realize that we have an agenda, different agendas. Me, I want to succeed. I want to make impact. You want to show that you are empowering women when you are not doing it. So it's been very tricky. Very tricky here. And I've been very outspoken about it, so I don't have a lot of friends because of that. But that's how it is. And now it's how can we improve it? Sorry, I've talked too much. And me, for example, I took ownership of my own face. So this year I am empowering, So I have a lot of initiatives. So in order to come and also try and bridge that gap, and then I will not take it from a power switch point of view. So I'm not considering the other women-led businesses as inferior. They are not inferior. It's not finding ways to build them up so they can also have platforms and a voice. So yes, it's up to us to take our face in our hands.
Yeah, I like that's so powerful. I like the fact that you spoke about resilience, and
Mm.
I have come in contact with you, so I say yes to that. Yeah, you're very resilient.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
So And I think that's what we need in business. We need really more than we need to be resilient, especially in Africa, where there are so many things that could be like setback, but sometimes we just need to use it as a setup. So I like the fact you said when things you like when things are working, like working on things that are definitely working. So when it's not working, you think of going back. I will call it going back to the drawing board. Yeah, which is quite a fair way to do things if you want to move forward. You also mentioned human capital. Human capital, many entrepreneurs or startups will say that's the major challenge we're facing, human capital. But apart from as an entrepreneur, you said something that was resonant with it 100%. Yeah, you said now I want to talk about financial capital or funds. It's very important. If you ask any entrepreneur, he'll say, I need funds. I need financial capital. I need capital to set up my business. But that's not always the most important. When you have the capital, which is very important, but if you don't have the right human resources or human capital, you can't make it. And I've really also encountered that as a challenge. Hiring the right team, you have to be whether it's maybe just an employee, they have to understand the vision, and align with it and work toward it. So as an entrepreneur, you also spoke about empowering. And empowering us, empowerment needs to come from within. Nobody is going to empower you. And that's completely true with me. I have few friends because sometimes your way of thinking is different because as an entrepreneur, you begin to think outside the box. You're not just some people, like you said, they get into business because they want to see that they're doing it. But at times we want to create impact. It's not just about showing to the world that we're doing this. It's about the real impact. It's about the story of the pregnant woman you spoke about was shared her testimony of how really it has transformed her business and has improved her way of doing things. So she's excited. That's what we are looking into as an entrepreneur. And that's probably why you're making a lot of impact. I really have to congratulate you. People always tell you're hardworking, but I've seen someone maybe who is more hardworking than me. You're doing a great job. Keep on.
Thank you. Do. As you come from the web up, everyone works so hard. Everyone hustles and work and we don't get discouraged easily. That's something all share. We have setbacks. We don't give up.
I say I'm going to push myself to the top. I even because sometimes everything is going to discourage you. Everything around you. Especially when you have a vision and a mission, you're on a mission. But it's like you said, it's your purpose, what you're called to do. And you need to find a way to empower yourself. I like that. So let's go back to your grandmother where it all started. Your grandmother was also a street vendor. And now you're transforming the very industry she worked in. How was her legacy influence? Let me put it this way, how has her legacy influenced your approach to building, for example, WaziEats? And what do you think she would say about what you're doing today? Maybe she's not more there. But what do you think she would say about you?
I think it's very important. Thank you. Your question is very important because she influenced so much. First of all, she was such a strong woman, or you couldn't imagine. She was not only a food vendor, she was a buy and seller. So she would also go to the board, buy and sell products, and sell food. So social aspect for her was something that she was known, and everyone would know her, go to her for fixes, and she would always have some products and merchandises. Was the type of woman who would smoke, sorry about that, the Benson and Edge cigarettes and then drink Guinness Smooth. The type of strong woman, very soft, so gentle, so kind, very soft, very caring. And this is everything I've described. That's everything that I'm bringing down towards it also, and also on a daily basis. It's my DNA. It's okay. I didn't do food vending. I didn't do that. I mean, I studied, so I was into more corporate, world in Europe and as well. But it's my DNA. So now, when I sit down, I did the first recruitment of the vendors on the platform. I did it myself because we are talking the exactly same language. I know how to approach them because we share the same, but really I have the DNA in me. So it was very easy. I mean, easy, or for me, it was accessible to say to approach the first vendors and convince them to use the platforms because I know where they come from. And it's something that it requires to be quite altruist, really to be able to put yourself in the person's shoes, the person you're talking to shoes. It does require, so you really need to almost spend a day, in her shoes and then realize that it's tough, I don't think I could be, not that I don't think, I know for a fact that I will not be able to do what they do and then to make a living. So I'm quite pleased that everything I've learned, my background, my experience, my grandmother's history has set me, everything that I combine that, and then I can support from that and forward vendors. So I use that really. And then sometimes people say, oh, there's someone doing something similar to you. I say, I know. But you look that when it comes to WaziEats, it comes from within. So if you want it to differentiate, it's not just a business that, I have a wonderful business idea. And no, it comes from within something else, right?
And when any business that comes from within, out of experience, you begin to develop that internal drive. So whenever you think of giving up, you think about why you started in the first place. So yeah, I also read somewhere. I mean, I'm still in your post. I went through it, and you mentioned somewhere that WaziEats is aiming to raise $5 million. So, to create growth for newly empowered street vendors. For me, that's quite a bold vision. So now, can you paint us a picture of what success looks like for WaziEats in the next few years to come?
Yeah, we have ambition, but not to raise $5 million. It's 500,000 USD, half a million.
Okay.
And then
5 million is serious.
now it's 5 million.
5 million is possible. Wow, but I believe
No,
it's
no,
possible.
but not today. Maybe in the longer term. But today, the stage, we need half of it now and maybe half of it in a year and a half. And then that's what we've been doing for the past year. I've been fundraising. So going to conferences, meeting with investors. And then I have to close my round because I didn't raise nothing out of the 500,000 goals. Women-led businesses, they only attract 2% of the funding pool. Can you imagine how hard it is? And also we are in Cameroon. Do not forget, we are not in a country with the best press internationally. And actually, it's not that we have bad press, it's just that people don't know about Cameroon. So they are indecisive when it comes to making an investment decision that I would like to, but I've never invested in Cameroon. I don't know how it's like, and I've heard, and so they don't really know. Meaning that after a year of meeting very interesting people, I have people very invested, let's say, in the story of WaziEats, but they did not invest financially. So we received verbal commitments, but until I see the money in my bank account, it's just a talk, right? Meaning that at some point, I have to close and say, resilience, what is resilience? Is saying, it's fine, I didn't raise, but it will not stop me. We are just going to adapt. You should have with money, we could have reached so many more farmers, so many more vendors, it would have been so much faster. But without the money, we are still going to make it. It will take maybe longer, more time. But the best thing was to close the round, stop, spending a lot of time trying to meet with investors and convince them, take them into your storytelling. So now is end of it. I've stopped it last week. I was in Kenya sorry for bad news. Izakam. It's Izakam. So I was in Kenya at the Africa Tech Summit. I did my last speech. And now I stopped and I build, It's important. So now my time is 100% focused on building and doing more acquisition, more market penetration, more access to markets, more reach, more organization, strategy. So now I've stopped. If an investor wants to join, they are happy, but I will not go and fish. And it didn't work out. It's fine. So we are going to build. And in a year time, we come back with stronger revenue and a stronger, let's say, story to that. And then we are going to raise the round that we've intended to now. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's quite interesting, I really, and I wish and I know that the best is yet to come for WaziEats. So now we would ask a few more questions. So maybe just quick, you've made such an interesting career pivot from corporate finance to food tech entrepreneurship. And I want you, for our listeners, who might be sitting in the corporate job right now, dreaming of making an impact, what advice would you give them?
Don't quit your job to build a startup. Don't do that. And then if you want to do it because you are not, if you still want to do it because he's calling you, I'll understand, totally. No one will understand in support. Like, what did you do? My mom, she's always telling me, what did you do with your job? How did you do it? So it's like, it's tough. But if you have it within you, I will totally understand. Do a lot of prep. Preparation is key. A lot of market research. Do a lot of piloting also. Something that we didn't do much is try and test. So we went full on with the full solutions, and I think it was one of my early mistakes. I didn't have to come up with a full, mobile application with all the features. I remember spending time on functionalities, the smallest ones, and it did drag. It cost you a lot of money. It cost you a lot of time. So I would say, if you want to do it, despite my advice not to, please take time with basic functionalities, basic, if not tech, the basic product. Know your basic product. You get started with it, you generate some revenue, and then you build more as you go along. It's the best way to success for me. So if I want to do it again, that's what definitely I will do. Start with a basic, simple feature or functionality before building up and building up and building up. So it would be my advice.
That's quite interesting. Me, as a branding and marketing strategy and analyst also, I agree with what you said. Start with the market research. Some people just start with this because they feel there is a need. So do the market research, analyze the data, test it, you mentioned it well, and then re-strategize. And you don't need to start with a huge website, but just start with the basics. So thank you so much for that. So now I'm curious about the role of AI. Curious about the role of AI in your work. I noticed you describe yourself as an AI addict. How are you using AI to empower street vendors?
You see how excited I got when you said AI is like what? It's my topic. I feel like a dinosaur when it comes to AI because I feel like, there's a lot to catch up. So I am training myself also on AI because of course we incorporate it in our solutions. It's a feature and it makes your life so easier. I don't know if you use ChatGPT, sorry for naming, but you see how ChatGPT just assists you with everything and gives you support. So it's my aim to support the informal vendors. So I'll make sure that there's AI embedded. So AI will come in the form of voice. It's very important. As I said, everyone can read, not everyone can write. We have to take that into account. It's about 30% of the African population that cannot read or write English or French, So it's important to embed voice AI so they can be understood in different languages. They can also have an online restaurant just from voice, image AI also to analyze products and everything. So to have it, so we embed all of that, and we have it as automation tools also for ourselves as a business to automate our own processes, but also within our solutions. So we do a lot of optimizations to AI and also personalization. So in order to make the system lighter and easier and faster. So AI is definitely the next topic.
Yeah. It's AI is just so powerful, Whatever you're doing, try to look how you could integrate AI to ease your processes, ease your work, everything we do. Like tomorrow, and those who will be jobless will be those who don't know how to use it in their work. So yeah, that's great. I'm happy that you're actually integrating that and you see AI even in the informal markets. Yeah, that's so powerful. So now, before
Oh,
we
yeah.
wrap, I know our listener want to follow your journey and perhaps even support maybe WaziEats. How can people connect with you and learn more about what you're building? What's the best way to for them to maybe stay updated on your mission?
We try to maintain some public social space on LinkedIn. I know we don't post every day, but you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can reach WaziEats Proximity there on LinkedIn. Olga Yanda also has a personal page. We're also quite present on Facebook, and I intend to open a Twitter account. I'm not too sure about it. But we are really, we have a presence on Facebook and LinkedIn. And also the best way to reach out to us is download our applications on Android and iStore, so on Apple stores. So we are both on both stores, so you can download our applications and then just see for yourself how it looks, how it works. And we will welcome you. Just so you know, we work with informal vendors, but we ensure that they can give quality food. As said, we provide them with training, so they follow all the food safety norms. And then we are distributing them mainly to employees. So if you are at work or you are stuck in a meeting, you are stuck in a call, you can just call the service. It's affordable, it's quality, and it's trustable. Also, we know where the food comes from.
Wow, thank you so much, Olga, for sharing your incredible journey. You are showing us that technology can be a powerful force for good when it's built with heart and purpose. All right, beautiful people. Wasn't this conversation just inspiring? If you're feeling moved, and I know you are, you must check out WaziEats and see the amazing work Olga and her team are doing to transform street vending in Africa. You can connect with her if you want to learn more about WaziEats. Connect with Olga. Go on LinkedIn, check WaziEat proximity, and you can also connect with Olga. You can find them online across social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter is coming up. They are based in Douala, Cameroon, but their impact is spreading across Africa. So, our listeners, if this episode resonates with you, don't forget to follow Olga Yanda on LinkedIn and learn more about her mission to empower informal vendors through technology. Remember, whether you are in a corporate job dreaming of making an impact or already on your entrepreneurial journey, your vision matters and you have the power to create the change. All right. If you really enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating, leave us a review, share it with a friend. Follow me, Daniel Asambanto, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and name them. Follow also Entrepreneurship Exposed for more inspiring content. This is Daniel Asa, and I'll see you next week with another amazing story. Keep dreaming big and being wonderful. See you next time, beautiful people.
Thank you, Daniel. You did an amazing job. Thank you so much. We'll speak soon.